What's up, everybody? Stacking Surfer here. My hair doesn't look very good. Sorry, guys. What's up, everybody? So we're going to just do a quick live stream. We won't do this one too long, but I thought I'd chat with you guys for a little bit tonight, see if you guys have any questions for me that I can answer for you guys about gold, silver, mining stocks in general, crypto, real estate, investing. I don't know. Whatever advice you guys might want to ask. I'll try to give you guys something good out of it. But we're going to talk about that today, and I'm going to give you guys a little bit of what I'm doing right now too, to give you guys a little information as well. So go ahead and put your questions down below. I've got a little bit to talk about today, but really I wanted to see if you guys had any Q&A for me, and we'll go from there. I'm actually in another hotel, different state now than I was last night. And I'm getting kind of around and doing things. So I'm actually down in North Carolina tonight. Was up in Boston last night. And I think this is going to be a massive travel year for me. I'm probably going to be traveling a lot. So I think we're going to have some fun times, especially as the weather gets warmer and I get a chance to get outside and take my selfie stick, and we can go and talk about gold and silver, which will be fun. All right, so OC Stacker, welcome, and L, welcome. Good to have you guys on here. Do hit that thumbs up. That lets people know that you guys are enjoying this content, and that'll get it out to more people. And Frank, welcome. So we've been talking about a bunch of stuff recently. We've been talking about some of the Doge stuff that's going on. I work with a lot of people that live in DC and work in the space of selling software to government agencies, and it's interesting to see the reactions this past week talking to them at a sales conference. A lot of them are on more of the liberal side of things, and what was interesting is the efficiencies coming out of Doge is something that will actually help the stuff I do with my day job, because we have software that creates more efficiencies and uses AI to automate more of the processes that people don't want to do. Okay, so it's the stuff they don't really want to do. But I think there's a lot of that's going on. We're seeing conversations about going to Fort Knox. We haven't heard any conversations about going to any other vaulting facility or trying to do a full audit of everything the U.S. has in gold. We've only heard about it for Fort Knox. So I'm not sure what's going to happen there. I did see a couple videos on Elon Musk talking about, kind of joking around with Joe Rogan if the gold's there and all that stuff. So those are some of the headlines that I've seen recently, guys. If you're looking at the price of gold and silver right now, you're probably wondering what's going to happen. We've kind of had the prices dip down a little bit. And I'll tell you, this is something I covered off with SPB last night, Sean's Precious Bullion. And I'm not really worried about where the price of gold and silver go. I'm more worried about accumulating as much as I can, because I'd like to have as much money out of the system as I can. Now, that doesn't mean I'm selling my house. It doesn't mean I'm selling my cars to do that. It just means as I come up with extra cash, I'm looking to buy more precious metals. And I'm less worried about the actual price of it in the short term. So I bought a fair amount of gold and silver over the last couple weeks. And some of those prices are still lower than where gold and silver is sitting at today. And some of that I bought a little bit higher. But when I buy, I typically buy below retail. And when I sell, I typically sell around retail. And so I usually try to get a little bit of a spread to get a better dollar cost averaging when I'm doing it. But what I'd love to hear from you guys is if you guys have any questions for me in general. Maybe you don't, and that's okay if you guys don't too. I'll try to share a few things that I was reading up on today for you guys as well. So we've got Michael stacking in here as well. Jim, welcome. And Annie. And let's see who else we got in here. We've got Devon. He says he's just started into gold and silver, and I plan on taking advantage of a bunch of sites that do the first-time buyer deals. Spot price is a good idea to start. Yeah, those can be really good. So, Devin, one of the things I'll tell you is this. Just about every one of the online bullion dealers has something like a starter package. If you hunt around the website, if you know how to do that, Usually it'll be down below, or you can try to do a / starter pack or start. You can try a few different things. If you can't find it on their websites, try calling them and seeing if they've got a starter pack. It's often around 5 ounces of silver that they give you at maybe spot price or close to spot price. I think that's a great way to do it. One of the ways that I'm able to get silver below spot price is going to coin shows and having a booth. We just picked up, between me, OC Stacker, and Chef Stacker LA, I think we picked up about $160 face of constitutional or junk silver, and we were able to buy that at $20.50 at the Long Beach Coin Show last Saturday. So it'll be 1 week from tomorrow. I kept that stuff. We didn't really resell it at the moment, but we were able to keep it. I think most people are paying around $24 face for that right now. So that's another thing you can do, is you can go to coin shows and you might be able to get some deals there. You're not going to be able to get that deal unless you have a booth and you're buying, and you've got cash to do so. But going to a coin show, sometimes you might be able to get 50 cents to $1 off on some of the constitutional. The other thing I like to do is just look for the deals. Every one of the online bullion dealers is going to have a deals page, and when you go to that, oftentimes there's good deals there. I do a lot of stuff with Andy from Miles Franklin. You can reach out to him. It's info@milesfranklin.com. Let him know Stacking Surfer sent you, and they'll hook you up with one of their experts that will go through their pricing structure that is better than what's on their website. And oftentimes you can find some good stuff there too. The key is to accumulate. The key is to to get the kinds of products that you like. Do your research on what that might be. For me, I started off with expensive stuff, and I've moved completely away from that. I've been selling a lot of that at coin shows, and I've been giving people good deals on that. At the same time, I'm making a little bit more than I would if I sold it on eBay. And I'm able to move into rounds, into Silver Eagles, things like that. It is important to look at the premiums that you're paying as well. So hit that thumbs up if you guys haven't done that yet. Also hit subscribe and the bell icon. If you're not sure how to get the thumbs up in this format, you double tap the screen and it'll happen. So you can't even see my finger here if I do that. Okay, so tap, tap, tap. All right, we got Chich Stacker in the house. Welcome. Yep, we got some sharks there. So I'm kind of far away from the sharks at the moment. Devon's down in New Hampshire. Devin's in New Hampshire. We've got Amy in the house. Welcome, Amy. And so, yeah, you got to look for sales tax too. So that's another thing to be on the alert for you guys too. Some of the states will charge sales tax. In California, where I live, anything under $2,000, you're going to get hit with sales tax. There are ways to get around that. A lot of times, coin shows don't charge sales tax. If you're buying from a neighbor or a friend, they're not going to charge you sales tax. So it's not about avoiding ways to do it. It's just how certain things are set up with it. Most states are going to charge you capital gains when you go to sell your metals. That's kind of up to you. Go read the Constitution, see what it says about it. Advise with your CPA. I can't give you guys financial advice on the channel. I also can't give you tax advice, but I can tell you that a lot of people have different opinions on that. Some people lose all their stuff in the bottom of the ocean or the bottom of a lake. So those kind of things can happen too, but that's up to you guys on reporting things. I recommend following the law. I also recommend understanding the law a little bit better too. I spent time, about an hour at Costco with OC Stacker in the summer when I was buying an ounce of gold, which is over the 2,000 threshold, and I was buying 2 silver bars, and they wanted to charge me 7.5% sales tax on the 2 silver bars. They obviously did not know the California state laws. So it took us an hour to get with the manager at Costco and go through everything and educate her on what the law was in California. And at that point, then she figured out how to do it. We kind of taught that entire store how to take care of things. So I do recommend doing that. All right, so Heidi Joe has best types of gold to buy, coins, bars, or cheapest. Get as much as you can. So I'd say it's a little bit complicated, but you have different options. I personally only buy bars if I find a really good deal for them. And the reason for that is if I go to sell them back, I'm going to get the least amount of money back from bars. I'm also going to probably pay the least amount of money to buy them. A lot of people don't like the bars as much, so I kind of stay away from those. And that's mostly going to be 1 ounce bars that I'm talking about. Now, as far as larger bars, if you've got enough money to go buy a 5 ounce gold bar or a 10 ounce gold bar, you're going to get your best bang for your buck. But I don't like having that much gold in one format. I like to be able to have it a little smaller. So for me, I'm either buying 10th ounce gold coins or I'm buying 1 ounce gold coins. Those are kind of the two formats I buy. For me, I don't go heavy on 10th ounces, but I do have a lot of those, relatively speaking. I try not to go over having like a tube of those things, which is about 50 of them. I try to get as much in that 1 ounce format as I can. But for me, a lot of my gold is pre-33. That's maybe for another question. But right now, I'm mostly buying Eagles and Buffaloes gold coins in the 1 ounce size. And the reason for that is that seems to be what most people want. Now, every once in a while, I have an opportunity to buy Krugerrands for several percent below spot. And when I can do that, I do that. And oftentimes I can take those and I can upgrade them for a few bucks to an Eagle or a Buffalo and buy them well below retail price. So, to answer that question, it really depends on what you're looking at and what the prices are. So if you have the opportunity to buy Eagles and Buffaloes at around the same price as other products, I would go that way. Those are going to be the coins, if you're in the United States, that will have the best resale value. If you live in South Africa, go get with Krugerrands. If you live in England or the UK, I would go with Britannias. If you live in Canada, I would go with Maple Leafs. If you're in Mexico, I'd go with Libertats. Australia, go with the Kangaroos. And why would I say that? Because you're going to have more recognition with those coins in the country that they are minted in. It's okay to have the other kind of coins that are out there too. For me, I went crazy with different kinds of coins, both silver and gold. And I got to the point where I started looking at everything and I realized it's going to be really hard to pass these on to my kids, or if something happens to me, for my wife to know what to do with them. Part of it's education, but part of it is helping her understand the price differences. She's not necessarily going to know all that. And if I have, 2 or 3 kinds of coins versus having 200 different kinds of coins, it can get a little harder for that too. So one thing I recommend is sticking with a couple of the coins that you like. I definitely recommend getting coins for the country you live in. Those are going to be the easiest to sell down the road, but don't overpay for them. So if you're looking at like $150 difference between a gold bar and a gold Buffalo, I would really take a strong look at that. I would ask how much, wherever you're buying them from, I would ask how much are they going to buy back a gold Buffalo and how much are they going to buy back a gold bar. And if the answer is about the same amount of money and one of them is 150 bucks less, that might be your answer right there. For me, I can get a little bit more because of the channel and connections I've made. I can usually get coins for a lower price. But weight is the number one thing you're looking for. Second is recognizability. And then I think kind of the third is what do you like to stack? All right, so let's see what else we got here. So yeah, keeping them into retirement I think is great. Frankly, for me, gold and silver is insurance. I guess I should say gold is insurance. It's wealth insurance for me. Silver, on the other hand, is a little bit more of a speculation play. The ratios are insane right now. I think it's around 91 on the gold to silver ratio right now. I think it's going to go above 100 before it goes way lower. But I believe last summer we saw it down around the high 60s, unless that was the year before, but I think that was last year. And it does do that from time to time. I've got some pictures I've saved. I don't have a way of showing them right now, but historically those numbers go down in the past. And so I do think at some point we're going to see a gold to silver ratio that'll probably be closer to 40, 50, and maybe we'll get it down to 20 or 10. Some people have even speculated we might see 10 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold. If that happens, I would have a hard time holding on to my silver, I think. However, if that happens, there's some crazy reason for it. So, I think you should hold on to this stuff. I think it's going to help you guys a lot. So hit that double tap, you guys, hit that thumbs up. That'll help more people know what we're talking about today. So Annie Oakley talks about, I like buffaloes in the bottom of lake. Yeah, you might lose them. All right, so do you get better premiums with bars and rounds? I've noticed coins are a bit more. You get lower premiums with bars. So here's the deal. If your plan is to just buy bars, or let me back up. If your plan is to just buy gold and you plan on selling that gold down the road, you're not really looking at it so much as wealth insurance. You're not looking at it for an SHTF situation. You're not too concerned about confiscation. You're not too concerned about whether they may remove the capital gains tax for US coins, but leave it intact for all the other kinds of coins. If you're not worried about all that stuff, then bars can be a way to accumulate a lot more gold faster. However, I would say don't be afraid of premiums. Just know what you're looking at and do your homework. So typically on gold, it's around a 5% premium. If you're paying more than a 5% premium, shop around a little bit more. If you're paying a 2.5% premium, and let's say it's even a 2% premium more for a coin over a bar, I would still lean more towards the coin personally, because I have an easier time selling those or trading them back in if I need to. But that's me. If you're looking to maximize the amount of money that you're putting into gold and silver, bars can be some of the cheapest ways to do it. Now, with silver, I wouldn't do it with 1 ounce bars. I would do it with 10 ounce bars, maybe even up to kilo size. All right, coins are more though. Rounds are less than coins though too. Did my heater break? I don't know, I'm just cold. I've been on the East Coast and away from California for too long. And my son keeps stealing my Dodgers hat that's blue. So I had to go find a black one. So now if he steals it, I know who took it. Anyway, so I picked this up in the airport on the way out. So Gold Buffalo is about $85 more than a Pamp bar right now. Should I get the Gold Buffalo for more? So I can't tell you which one to go get. What I can tell you is this. Most likely when you go to sell it back, you're going to have a difference in premiums. So if you pay $85 more for a Gold Buffalo, you're probably not going to get $85 more if you took it back in a week, let's say. Maybe you'll get $30, $40 more for that Gold Buffalo over the bar. So it comes down to preference. Most of the gold bars you're going to be looking at are going to be between 3/9 fine and 4/9 fine gold, which means 22 karat versus 24 karat. I personally like more of the 24 karat gold. I like the color of it a little better. So I'm more of a preference to a Gold Buffalo. So for me, it depends on goals, right? You may have a goal of getting a tube of Gold Buffaloes, which is 20 coins, and then you may have a goal of getting a tube of 20 Gold Eagles. And then from there, maybe that's what you kind of wanted to do, and the rest of them you go with bars. So the real answer to that is it really depends on your preference, and it depends on what you're trying to do. I really don't think $85 in the long run is going to matter much to you guys or to me. I know some big stacking channels on YouTube where they don't even record what they buy. They're not worried about paying the taxes on everything because they plan on just passing it to their kids. And they believe that the price of gold is going to be so much higher in the future when anybody in their family might use it, that it's really not going to make a difference. So let's just look at that for a second. Let's say that gold is at $3,000 and you can buy a gold bar for $3,000 and you can buy a Gold Buffalo for $3,085, okay? What happens when gold is sitting at $15,000 or $20,000? Will that $85 premium that you paid for the Gold Buffalo make that big of a difference to you? My guess is it won't make that big of a difference to you. In the short run, it might make a little bit more of a difference. So if you don't like the bars and you think they're ugly, or you don't like them, or you don't want them, long run, or you're trying to figure out how do I store them, and maybe you don't like the little plastic assays that they come in, then I wouldn't get those. I'd go get the Buffaloes. If you're okay with them and you're looking at the numbers and you're realizing that, hey, I can go buy a bunch of silver for that $85 and I can grow my stack faster, then I think you go that way too. So I can't tell you which way to go, but I can tell you I've kind of gone through different cycles with all of this stuff. I used to start off with bars, and then I moved into coins. of different kinds of countries. I was buying a bunch of British Queen's Beast coins for less money than I could buy a gold eagle. And guess what? I ended up making $1,000 profit on each one of those coins I bought. And then I could go buy an eagle afterwards and a bunch of silver with it. So, you can do that too. So I really wouldn't say there's a should. I would say it comes down to your preference, and maybe you get one of each. Okay, so yeah, if you are going to lose your gold in the lake, you might want it to be in a shallow part of the lake. That's what Michael said. So that could be something there too. Chelsea, all right. So Surfer, thoughts on selling gold pre-33 a little above melt to buy graded $20 coins MS 63 for 3% over. The spread is very low right now between BU and MS 63. All right, so here's my thought on it. People will argue this case, even SPB will argue this with me a little bit, but technically from the things I've looked at, pre-33 gold is exempt from a confiscation situation, okay? Depending on who you talk to, some of them are going to say, it's really not there. They revoked the executive order. If you talk to other people, they say it's still there. This, something happened. I don't have all the data for you guys there. We'll get that at another time. You can go look at my Lynette Zhang videos. I think she covers some of that too. But I look at, and I call myself a hedge stacker. I'm going to be putting some videos together on that for you guys. But the reason I say hedge stacker is I hedge for multiple things. I'm not just a doomsday prepper stacker. I am someone that buys gold for savings that I know I'm going to sell in a year or two from now. And that kind of gold, I'm more likely to buy gold bars, by the way, in that stack, because I know I'm going to be flipping it. I want to have something that doesn't cost me too much when I'm getting into it. And I watch the price of gold go up and down, and I know when I might move out of it. For the gold that I'm looking at that I'm going to hold long term, that I hope continues to go through my family, to my kids and to my grandkids, is more of the pre-33 gold, not the bullion. Right now, Andy Scheckman from Miles Franklin, you can reach him by emailing him at info@milesfranklin.com. Put in the subjects price list and Stacking Surfer, and then in the body of it, just say Stacking Surfer sent me. And they have a deal right now where you can turn in American Gold Eagle bullion coins, and you can get an MS63. I think it's either a Liberty or a St. Gaudens that's $20. So those will both be double eagles. And you can just trade them across. I think that's one of the best deals I've heard of out there. I've got a big stack of pre-33 gold. That's what I have mostly. I have a little bit of bullion, but mostly pre-33 gold. Most of my coins are MS61 to 62. I've got a couple 63s and I've got a couple 65s. A few of them I probably spent a little too much money on, but they're awesome looking coins and they're more rare dates. So for me, I look to have those be used in a strategy down the road. For 3% over, you may be able to get a better deal than that. But I do think it's great to own non-graded pre-33 as well as graded pre-33. The key is to not overpay for it. So a 3% premium is not too bad. If you can switch for like, it's pretty cool too. But I'll tell you guys, when people don't want something, that's the time to buy it. So if they don't want pre-33 gold and the premiums are super low for that right now, buy that stuff. I do believe that the premiums are going to get way higher on that and you're going to end up making more money on it. That's a belief I have, not financial advice on that, but I do think it's going to go up higher. Tariffs, what are they going to mean for Philharmonics? So that is really going to depend on what ends up happening with the tariffs and when they go into play. When they do go into play, it's going to mean if it's a 25% tariff on gold or silver, that it's going to be 25% higher. You're just going to be paying more for it. Does that mean you'll be able to get more for them here in the States? Probably, but I don't think you're going to get 25% more. So let's say anything new in 2025 that's brought in, that'll get slapped on with a 25% tariff. I think what'll probably happen there is people will either decide to stop buying those coins because they're too expensive. They'll start moving to silver eagles. They'll start moving to rounds. Or if people like them and there's still demand for them, you might have an opportunity to be able to sell those to an LCS. And maybe you sell it for a 10% premium on top of what you could get otherwise. Maybe not 25% because the coin shop needs to make a little bit of profit on it too. But you might be able to flip that and go buy buffaloes and have a 10% extra money to go do that. So that could happen. Now, at the same time, people may just not want those as much. But know that there's not a lot of silver and gold out there. I'm not going to say that we're out of silver, but there's a big deficit for it. So really the only way that they're able to use it in industry is if people like ourselves or companies start selling their silver. It's like a 4-year deficit on mining. So that's only growing and getting bigger. It takes 3 to 10 years to spin up a silver mine, depending on how long it's been closed, or if it's even in production or was in production recently. So it can take a long time to bring those online. So I do not expect that we're going to see a bunch of, silver just come out of anywhere. U.S. is going to have to start creating its own silver, and it's going to have issues. Now, maybe we won't have tariffs on silver and gold. I don't know. So I would not go buy a product that is from a foreign country based on the idea that there's going to be a 25% tariff, and therefore you want to stock up on that because you're going to make 25% on it. I don't think the economics are going to work that way. I think what you're more likely to do is you might make 5 or 10% on that, but it's more likely people will not look for that product as much. Now, the one exception to that might be libertads. There's a lot of people that just love libertads, and that's all they do, and that's all they go for. So for those folks, you might be able to get an advantage over it. Annie Oakley keeps losing her silver in the lake. I don't know. She goes on a lot of boating trips, I guess. Heard gold might go to 40 an ounce. So ultra fire. Gold may go way higher than that. So right now, gold is valued at $42.22. That's on the Treasury's books. And it's been that way for years. Okay, that goes all the way back to the 50s. And it's an issue, okay, because that's why we basically have $50 stamped on our coins and not $3,000 for this year. They just do not change that valuation. Now, I haven't done the research yet, but I'll probably need to do that to see why it's 50 instead of 42.22. Now, I don't think you're going to see decimal points on a coin stamp, right? But could it go higher? Yes. Right now, there's conversation going on around revaluing gold. If we revalue the gold to about $3,000 from the 42, we create $800 billion in new wealth for the United States, basically. Okay. Now, when we do that, we are basically we're just kind of revaluing it. It's just a ledger entry on the balance sheet of the United States. Okay. What that does allow us to do is it allows us to go print $800 billion in new US dollars. And if they go to do that in tandem with a revaluation, they're going to cause that much more inflation. But they don't necessarily have to do that. They could just change it on the books, and it would still show that they have that we have more value in the country. Now, I don't see the value in going to 3,000, or I don't see the reason to go to 3,000. It's only $800 billion out of the $36 trillion in debt we have. I don't get the reason why they would do that. However, they could do that. And they could come out and say, hey, we'll give everybody $3,000 or $5,000 for gold, turn it in. If you see that, that's a confiscation that's coming in, guys. So watch out for that stuff. But could they go to 40,000? Yes. If they go to about $42,000, that's enough for us to, I believe, pay off the $36 trillion in debt. Maybe it's $34 trillion. That's a number you'll hear from, like Lynette Zhang talks about that. The other number that I hear people talking about is $142,000 per ounce of gold, which that number right there alone could get us to the point where we pay off all of the debts, the $36 trillion, plus the IOUs with the Medicaid, Medicare, as well as Social Security, and all the other IOUs that the government has, pension funds, all that stuff. We could go that high. If you go that high and you print that much cash, we're going to have massive amounts of inflation. Now, in those situations, my opinion is that we're not going to see gold stay lockstep with inflation. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think what will happen is gold will outpace inflation. I think there'll be so much desire for gold that people will be willing to pay more for it, even more than what was printed in cash if that happens. So just as an example, if the country does decide to revalue to 142,000, and they print that much money and they basically pay off the debt, you can be rest assured there's a new currency that's going to be coming out, probably a cryptocurrency, either a CBDC or a stable coin. Hopefully they back it with gold to give it stability, but something like that would probably be coming out. They may or may not do confiscation beforehand. It depends on how much gold we have and what they need. But in a situation like that, I could see gold going much higher than $142,000 because people will want it. And you might ask, well, how is anybody going to afford that? Well, there's a lot of billionaires out there. And if they have been playing around in crypto and they haven't bought any gold yet, they'll be going after the gold. So there'll always be people that'll be there to buy the stuff. I wouldn't worry about that. It's the timing of it. You may have to wait a while. Your LCS isn't going to have $142,000 to go out and buy your gold from you right then. But over time, what's going to happen is they're going to reset that currency and it's going to kind of fall in place. So there'll be more money printed. There'll be more people that have that money to be able to go out there and pay for that, right? All this debt's getting paid off. So it's an interesting dynamic. As far as affordability, it's going to come down to, do the jobs pay more or not? That's what's going to really happen. So guys, we've got 92 watching and 29 thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up. You just go right here, double tap your screen, and that'll give the thumbs up and notify more people of what we're talking about today. All right, OC Stacker, pre-33 MS64 or better. So it really depends on what you guys are trying to do with the pre-33 gold. If you're looking to have some pre-33 gold and you want the lowest premiums on it, stick with either non-graded or MS61, 62 coins. I prefer the ones that are graded. You have less of a chance of a fraudulent coin. There are a lot of fakes out there for pre-33 gold. There's still 90% gold, so you're still getting the gold, but it's European coins that have been stamped to look like pre-33 gold coins. So you do want to make sure that they're authenticated by someone that knows what they're doing, or that they're slabbed. Now, can you have a fake one in the slab? Yeah, that can still happen, but it's less likely. When you're looking at getting nicer coins that you're hoping will appreciate more, you really want to look at a lower population, which means how many coins of that particular coin have been graded by PCGS, NGC, or CAC. When you're looking at that too, they'll start to get super expensive as that grade gets higher. So you want to be careful of what you're looking at there. And if you have a common date coin, it should be around the cost of like a Gold Eagle right now. So if it's MS61 to even 65 and it's a common date, don't go paying a bunch of extra money for that. All right, what else we got in here? Let's see what we got. Michael Stacking's going to send divers after your boating accidents. So Chuck, you ask, I'm not exactly sure. You say 10 ounces equal to 1 ounce gold, and how is bread in this scenario? So, you know, I think there's a misconception to me, and I think I hit this a little bit, but a lot of people believe that for gold to go to $10,000 means that we've had massive amounts of inflation. That doesn't have to happen that way. Look at Bitcoin. We've had some inflation, but we've had a lot less inflation than when Bitcoin's gone from $10,000 up to $100,000. Okay, we didn't have that much inflation, 90%. Okay, we didn't have that. Now it felt like we did. I felt like we did, but what we really had happen is this. We had closer to about 20 to 30% inflation across the board, depending on where you live and if you were buying a house or not, or if you're renting, you felt that in different ways. The government reported something way lower than that because they have got the CPI, which is the CP lie. It's a bunch of crap data that means nothing that they put together to try to make it look like there's not as much inflation. But there's been quite a bit of inflation. A lot of our houses have doubled. So right there, that seems like 100% inflation to me, right? So, but in overall generalities, we didn't really have 100% inflation. Therefore, Bitcoin went up higher than inflation. The same thing can happen with gold. We're just about to have a confirmation of a commodity super cycle that's going to be shifting from a stock market to gold. Okay, it's called a capital rotation. Excuse me, my nose is itching. When that capital rotation happens, you're going to see gold run up to $8,000 to $12,000. That's what the charts are showing. Okay, North Star charts on X. I've had him on, and we've talked about this, and I'm going to have him on again hopefully soon. We'll look at the charts. We're not in the capital rotation yet. He believes it's going to happen between now and March of next year, and it could happen any day or it could take a while. But when that capital rotation happens, we should see gold go into a bull run relative to just about everything else in the market. And we're going to see gold go up to, say, let's say it goes between $8,000 and $12,000. That can happen without another dollar being printed. Okay, those are mutually exclusive events when you get into a bull market. So that can still go way up. So your bread will still cost the same amount of money. Your gold just goes way up. Okay, that can happen. The other thing can happen too, where they just go out and create a bunch of stimulus payments and give us all a bunch of money, and you have inflation goes up and the price of gold goes up too. So you need to kind of be aware of those differences, and that'll be something that I'll try to cover as much on my channel as possible. All right, let's see what other questions you guys have. Okay, so Devin's talking about doing 2.5 grams at a time for gold. So you're going to pay more money for a gram size gold than you are a 10th ounce gold for the premium. Unless you're getting a premium like Gold Eagle, you'll pay a little bit more for the coins. You're going to pay a lot more for that than if you buy a 1 ounce coin. But if you don't have the cash to buy a 1 ounce coin, go buy a gram, go buy a 10th ounce. I'd rather do that personally myself than not get the gold. Now, I know a lot of people will store up and they'll stock up, and then once they get to enough money to buy an ounce, they do that. However, if you look at the last 2 years, if you did that, you'd be paying a lot more for that ounce. Over 10 months, if you were only getting, say, 1/10 of an ounce each month, you'd be better off buying the 10th ounces. Honestly, I have 10th ounces, and one of the reasons I have those is when gold does get up to $8,000 or $10,000 an ounce, or to $42,000 or $142,000, having a 10th ounce is going to be much easier to sell at that point. So I do think those are good to have. They do have higher premiums. You need to be aware of that. But I wouldn't shy away from that. Now, grams are great for traveling. You can stick a bunch of little grams of gold in a wallet or in a purse. No one will have any idea that you have it with you. And just in case there ends up being a big electrical cyber attack or a bank attack where you can't use your ATM or credit cards, you got a little bit of gold with you that you can use to trade for people with people. You can also take silver. I found a bunch of silver in my backpack yesterday. I didn't even know I had that with me traveling. And I do think it's a good idea to take some grams with you. Just don't televise it on TV like I am right now. All right. Get a 10 ounce bar of silver a kilo. Honestly, if you're in the United States, the 10 ounce bar is a better format to own, in my opinion, than a kilo. I've sold all my kilos. I used to have a lot of kilos of silver. I got rid of all of those except for some really cool stacker shields. I need to show those on my channel again. They're pretty cool. But here's the deal with kilos. You can get some great prices on kilos. Just know that a lot of people in the United States have no idea what the metric system is, and they're going to have no idea what a kilo is. So if you're thinking you might be using these for barter at some point, I think a 10 ounce is a better format than a kilo. But you can get some killer deals on kilos, so I wouldn't steer you away from those. If you're outside of the United States, kilos could be the way to go. I personally have sold all my 100 ounce bars. I've sold my kilos, except for a couple of these stacker shields. And then I've moved into 10 ounce bars if I'm stacking bars and I have a lot of rounds and I have a lot of silver eagles. That's kind of the format that I've mostly gone into. All right, let's see what else you got in here, guys. So leave some questions down here. We'll answer those questions for you guys too. All right. All right, he's going to go for the buffaloes. I like the buffaloes. I think they're really nice. Let's see what else we've got. So Chelsea Ice is upgrading. I think upgrading can be great too. Hey, One Spice. One Species, sorry. I wrote over that really fast. I've seen you on a lot of stuff, so it's good to have you here. One of the things that I like to do for upgrading is the following. I've been selling, I just sold a bunch of endangered wildlife, dangerous species coins that I think I paid around $48 on a YouTube auction maybe 2 years ago. They've been sitting in my stack. I don't really care for them that much. I thought I would create these collections and maybe be able to sell these collections off for more. Bad strategy. That doesn't really work very well. People that are buying coins want to go and search for that coin they're missing. They like the hunt. You have a much harder time selling collections is one thing I found. So I've kind of stopped doing that. But when I sell those on eBay, I've got to pay an 8% fee to eBay plus $5 in shipping. And so I was selling a bunch of those coins at the Long Beach Coin Show last Saturday for about $42. So, I saved a little bit of money doing that, and the person got a great coin for a really good deal. Okay. So I do some of that upgrading. I'm also in the process of looking to upgrade a bunch of Cougarans to either pre-33 gold or to gold eagles. So we're going to be looking for that. Well, it looks like someone had fun. There's a bunch of deleted messages. So if you guys get your messages deleted, it's most likely because you're putting something in there that's not appropriate. We do try to let you share your voice as much as possible, but if you're going to troll people or be annoying, we're gonna have to pull you off. Go ahead and tap the screen twice, guys. We've got 40 of you with thumbs up, 82 watching. Let's get this out to more people. Let's see. So yeah, Randy's talking about gold in 1933 was confiscated. So we have never in U.S. history gone door to door, knocked on your door, and taken gold from people. They didn't do that. Back then, gold was money. It still is money today. It's actually the only money that's out there. Calling a paper dollar fiat reserve note, Federal Reserve note, money is not the correct definition. That's called currency. And it's called fiat because it doesn't have anything backing it. It's really just the military might of the United States or our ability to continue to be the world reserve and pay off our debt and not default. That could change down the road. But in the confiscation, it was really more of a way for people to be patriotic and turn in their gold and help the country. So if we have another gold confiscation, it's going to be because we have to bring it in order to shore up the nation. I think a lot of us are probably not going to do that. So they're probably going to go after the ETFs as well as the bullion banks and the IRAs. Now, back in the past, they made it so you could only own 5 ounces of gold. Anything else was illegal. You could have jail time and fines. I think it was up to 10 years in jail. I don't know of anybody that did that. But what I do believe is this. If they do go to confiscate the gold, I think you're going to see some signs ahead of time. So I think one of those signs is they're going to make at least U.S. gold exempt from capital gains tax. If you see that, that could be a sign that they're going to confiscate. Another sign of confiscation could be that they do the Fort Knox audit and they find that there's not very much gold in there, and they may freak out and say, we need people to bring their gold in. I don't know. That could be another sign. Another sign, one last sign that I could see in there too, is if they offer you a price to turn in your gold, kind of like when they try to buy guns and get rid of guns in certain areas. They usually offer more money than what the guns are worth. So let's say gold's $3,000 today. If you see the government offering $4,000 or $5,000 to buy your gold and to come turn it in, that's another sign we could have something like that. Outside of that, I wouldn't worry too much about it. But yes, I am married. I married my high school sweetheart. We have known each other since we were 16. And we got 3 wonderful kiddos. All right. No one has said that I look like Bryan Cranston. Maybe I do with my hat and with my glasses. But I actually get Phil Dunphy from Modern Family at least once a month from someone. But that's kind of the personality. My wife calls me Phil Dunphy. And you have no idea how much that's a caricature of me. I am very ADHD, and I remember one episode where he's supposed to be doing homework with his son, and he goes out to the garage and sees something on a shelf and tries to get that down, which then knocks the shelf down over the car, and all the stuff falls all over the place, and he gets totally distracted. By the time his wife gets home, he never helped the kid. I've had that happen before. Maybe not exactly like that, but and my family knows me as Jim Carrey. I do a lot of great Jim Carrey impersonations, but I don't do those a whole lot now. But I used to do that as a kid. Are ancient coins worth buying? I've been looking at Roman and Gaul coins. One of them is dated 450 BC. So here's my take on ancients. I love them. I don't think they're good investments, and I don't think they're good to stack. But if you've got extra money and you like the coin, I don't see any problem with it. But I would make sure you've got your foundational stack first. So to me, that means having at least $100 face of constitutional or junk silver per household member. If you got the means, I'd go for 200 to 300 face for each person. Some people recommend even $1,000 face. I think that's a little overkill. I did the math with OC Stack or no, with Sean's Precious Bullion earlier, and you need about 1,000 dimes per year to feed each person in your family if you want to eat well. About 750. This came off of Gronk X's AI earlier today. Maybe I'll put a post about that for you guys. But you need about that for about a year's worth of bartering if you have no other food. Now, I recommend you have anywhere from a month to a year's worth of food storage, and then also as much water as you can. So if you have that, you really don't need to have, $1,000 face of junk silver, right? To pay for everything, unless you're planning on paying for things for a very long time. But that's a foundation I would look at. I also look at, for gold, I like to have 1 ounce of gold for every $50,000 in net, or in gross income, in gross, gosh, what is the word? Net worth, sorry. So I like to have 1 ounce of gold for every $50,000 in net worth that I have. Once those things are done, then I look at things like ancient coins. So my favorite ancient coin is one of the Athena owls. It's about a 400 BC coin from Greece, and I think I've got one of the best looking ones I've ever seen. And I paid a pretty penny for that, but it was a really nice looking coin, and I was willing to pay a little bit more for it. If I were to sell it right now, I'd probably lose $400 or $500 on it. That's okay, because I'm not selling it. I want to keep it. I have a few Russian coins that are from, I think, around the 1800 to 1000 AD. I've got a widow's mite from around the time of Jesus, and I've got a handful of Roman coins that are in the, I want to say they're around 200 AD or so. So ancients can be fun, guys, but I wouldn't buy those thinking that you're going to make money off of them. Okay, Jimmy Neutron. Yes, Randy Matthews. I've been called Jimmy Neutron. So I got lots of hair. I'm almost 50. I'll be 50 next year, and it's starting to come out, guys. I'm not liking that. I'm having a hairline now, and I'm starting to get, the pattern, which is not good. But I have a lot of hair, and when I go out in the summer and I have my hair done up and I'm going out to the ocean to go surfing and stuff, then yes, I look like Jimmy Neutron. And so the one thing I will tell you guys is there was I think it was Wendy's that did it back in the day when my son's almost 22 now, and when he was like 2 or 3, we heard him in the back seat of the car, in his car seat, telling us that he kept saying, Daddy, and he was looking at this toy, and it was a Jimmy Neutron toy from like a kid's meal thing. And it was Jimmy Neutron with a ton of hair, on the character, and he called that Daddy. So that's totally true too. LCS is short for local coin store. All right, Jeff. So Jeff's been a member for 11 months. Congratulations, man. Thank you for the support. If any of you guys do want to support the channel, there's a couple ways you can do it. One of the best ways to do it is tap the screen twice, hit the thumbs up. That's one way to definitely support. Another way is to hit the subscribe button at the bottom and then hit the bell icon so you're notified of the videos that we're putting out. Another way is you can join the memberships. So I am going to be ramping up more on memberships here pretty soon. I'm going to be getting my website up and started. I'm going to start offering gold and silver at great prices, better than you're going to get from any online bullion dealer. I can't 100% guarantee that. There could be someone I'm not aware of, but we're going to do our best to beat those prices. But it's only going to be for a very small group of people that are at a certain membership level that want to be part of a buying group. And a lot of that's going to be gold and silver we're picking up at coin shows or from people in the community that need to unload them. And we're able to get some good prices or in the area. So, for example, at the Long Beach Coin Show, we bought about $200, maybe $250 face of constitutional or junk silver. We picked it up at $20.50 per dollar face. And right now, I believe at the show, they were selling it for about $24 face. So instead of paying $24 face, we may be selling that at closer to, say, $21.50, make $1, maybe make $1.50 off of it, plus you guys pay shipping. So we're looking to do that. We can get gold oftentimes at below melt, and we may be able to offer it to you guys at melt or a little bit above it. So you might be able to save $50 to $100 per ounce of gold. Now, I don't want to compete with the people that do sponsor my channel and people that I help support, like Miles Franklin or some of the other companies we might be talking to. So that's going to be something that'll be closed off, and it's going to be a product that probably comes out maybe once a month, and that'll be here's what we have to offer. That's what we have. So, it's not going to cannibalize any of the other stuff you guys are doing, because if you have a very specific thing, like I want gold buffaloes, you're going to need to go to like Miles Franklin to go get those. We're less likely going to have those on a really good deal. It's probably going to be bars or things like Cougarans or anything like that. But we will be working on some of that stuff for you guys down the road too, to make the memberships a little bit more meaningful. In addition to that, I also have a monthly chat that we do. I'm having to switch it over from Zoom to Google Meet, and I had some technical difficulties. Plus, in January, I couldn't even talk for an entire month. So we're going to be bringing those back as well, and we'll probably be doing some more live streams for people to get into that. And then I had a service reach out to me about mentoring and having kind of a closed off group on their platform where they see all my trades, my stock trades, my gold and silver buying, and specific videos. So we might do that. But I'd love to hear from you guys. You can send me an email, stackingsurfer@gmail.com. Let me know your ideas. What would you guys like to see on videos? What would you like to see from services or offerings? I don't really go into what I do personally. I haven't really opened up to show people all of my stack. And one of the reasons I don't do that is I show my face. And people know I'm in California, and if you see me walking on the beach, you can probably triangulate pretty close to where I am. And so I want to keep my family safe, and I want to keep, my numbers kind of hidden behind. But if we've got small groups of people and they want to know a little bit more of what I'm doing when I'm doing it, I'm happy to share that, but I've got to keep that off the public forum for safety reasons. And I vault stuff too. So, that's another thing I try to do to keep things safer. All right, what else we got in here? We got some good stuff. So let's see. Oh, this is a good question from Sierra Charlie. Are you a stacking surfer or a surfing stacker? I've thought about that many times, and I'm not exactly sure. So I'll put it this way. I grew up in Southern California, and I did not surf as a kid. My parents didn't really take us to the beach much. It wasn't until junior high that I started doing what we call bodyboarding. Everybody else is going to call it boogie boarding. But I did do a lot of that in junior high, and then my family moved to Utah in high school. So then I started skiing a lot more, and snow skiing and water skiing. When I moved back down to California about 8 or 9 years ago, I took up surfing. And for me, I've got a lot of health issues. So most of the surfing I'm doing is on a longboard. It's more chill. I enjoy it a lot, and it's very relaxing, and it's something that helps with a lot of upper body strength plus great exercise. So I do a lot more stacking than I do surfing. So I'm probably more of a surfing stacker than a stacking surfer, but it sounded better as far as the channel goes. My first video that I was going to put out was me surfing and talking about Jerome Powell and how dumb he is for continually printing money and causing so much inflation. So that was back in 2021. And my GoPro camera is down at the bottom of the ocean in Doheny State Park, if you guys know where that is, in Dana Point. So I had one on my head, and I had one on my board. The one on my board totally got taken out, and the one on my head didn't even have the best audio. But one of these days, I do plan on getting on a surfboard, and I'll probably do a video talking about gold and silver. We just have to figure out how to film it. So we'll do that. But I love surfing. I think it's a very fun thing to do. My kids do a little bit of it as well, and it's something you can do, up until your health kind of starts to fail. But it's a great exercise. I do definitely recommend it. Anytime my nieces and nephews come down to California, I get them on the board and I teach them how to surf, and I guarantee they'll get up in about 20 minutes. So we do a lot of that. I wish I could do more surfing, but my day job, I sell AI software, and that takes anywhere from 40 to 55 hours a week for me. I'm also a dad and a father, or that's the same thing, and a husband. And I do as much with this channel as I can, as well as for my church and in community service. There just isn't a whole lot of time left. So I really don't get a lot of surfing in until it warms up a little bit more. And then it's usually more on the weekends than really getting out every day. Now, where I live, there's a lot of people that grew up in beach towns where their culture was just go out and surf every day. I would love to do that. I really don't have I don't have the luxury to do that right now, but I would love to down the road be able to do more of it. All right, let's see what else we got from you guys. There are fake slabs too. Yes, there are. And fake slabs are more likely to just continue to get passed around until you have an expert looking at them. But I wouldn't worry as much about those. Let's see. Let's see what else we got from you guys. So yeah, okay. So Scrooge McStack, if you do take a gold eagle and you contact Miles Franklin, and you want to trade that for pre-33 gold, it's going to most likely be very common dates. I think most of them are around MS63, and Andy bought a big, huge lot of them. So I don't know how long they're going to be around for. I think that offer's been out there for 3 weeks. I would definitely look at it. If I can buy pre-33 gold over bullion, I do it every time. That's me. OC Stacker is a good friend of mine. He would go the opposite way. He would get rid of all of his pre-33 gold and go completely into bullion. But the reason I do that is I do think there is a probability that's higher than 50% that we could see a gold confiscation. Most people on here will not tell you that because they're mostly just into bullion and they're not worried about it. But they did it in the past. Our country's in bad shape. I don't know why we wouldn't do it again. Now, hopefully, if they do it again, they make it better terms, things like that. And also, it's not a guarantee that pre-33 cannot be confiscated. It's just currently on the books that way. And people will argue that with me. Nick will argue with me on that all day long because she already has. But if I got the right information, I could show you guys that it is on the books still, that it's unconfiscatable. But that could change. It's an executive order. Those things change. Let's see. All right, so we got someone talking about some cryptocurrency for us here. So yeah, I'll tell you guys a little bit about what I have too, because there's a few people bringing a few things up on crypto and other investments real quick. My favorite investment is property. It's real estate. If you buy real estate the right way, in the right circumstances, you can always get real estate on sale relative to other, comparable properties at the same price, same condition for a lower price. And that allows you to cash flow properties. I used to buy a lot of raw land, and I've done some developing where I haven't actually done the construction, but I've taken land through the city and gotten permits for it, which can add a lot of value. So you can buy a big piece of land, split it up 100 ways, and all of a sudden you've quadrupled the value of the thing, sell it to someone else, let them do the crazy hard work. You can make a ton of money doing that. I've done a lot of that. I've bought houses, I've fixed them up, I've rented them out over time, then I flip them. So I've done a lot of that in my life too, and I think it's a great way to make money. The tricky thing with real estate is you need to understand the market, and you got to be patient, and you got to wait until the right deal comes around. You can't just run in and go buy stuff. Too many people are waiting for the property to go up in value to make your money. You're going to lose your money if you do that. So I like real estate. That's my favorite. Gold and silver is what I like to do for savings and kind of wealth insurance with my gold. I'll have to look at my number, but I'm somewhere between 6 and 10% precious metals. I'm about 1% in cryptocurrencies. And I recently sold a big chunk of land and water shares, so we're kind of out of that. I'm down to just my personal residence for real estate. I do like to invest in the stock market. However, it looks really frothy right now, but we could have a blow off top, so it could go a lot higher. And I do have some cryptocurrencies. I don't have any Bitcoin really, maybe like $100 of it. The main reason for people to own Bitcoin is they think it's a store of value. And in a lot of ways, crypto, if you look at it, based on its price, it is more of a pyramid scheme where the reason for that is because it moves so quickly. So what ends up happening is the price goes up or down based on how many people are moving in and out of it so quickly. Gold actually does the same thing too. It just doesn't move that quickly, so it doesn't feel like that. It doesn't look like it is. So that's why I'm saying it looks like it. It's not necessarily one. You'll hear a lot of people say it's a Ponzi scheme. It's not a Ponzi scheme. Go look up the definition of that. That's different. But crypto is something that I only put dollars into that I'm willing to lose. Am I willing to lose 1% of my net worth? Yeah, I'm willing to lose 1% of my net worth. Do I think it's gambling? No, because I do my research and I only buy coins that I know and understand. I'm a technology guy after all. When I'm looking at these coins, I'm looking at them like software. And I see great utility for them, and I think that there's going to be a good use for them, then I might invest into them. But I only put money in that I can lose. And it's a pain in the butt to do crypto. It's way more messy than buying gold and putting it in a safe. XRP could be a good one. I think that could end up being used to run, a stable coin that the U.S. may end up using for $1. But I think they also need to back it with gold. So I'm not a big fan of a crypto reserve. I understand the reasons why the country wants to do that. I'm not a big fan of it. I think all of our reserves should be in gold and silver, which is real money per the Constitution. It's also very stable, and it's not subject to having a network, electricity, or an internet to work. And yes, all three of those things can go away, and they can all be turned off. And if you don't believe that, please go start doing some research on it. Let's see what else we got here. All right, digital assets. I do think we're going to see tokenization. So for those of you that don't know this real quick, this is a very important thing of what's going to be coming down the road. Like I said, I work in AI space. So the company I work for, what we do is we take complex business processes and we make them more automated, and we make it so that we can empower the employees that are working to be more efficient and get more work done. And we do that in a very ethical and empathetical way. And the tool I work with is in the marketing side of things. Let's see, it was yesterday we did an exercise that took me 15 minutes to do that would normally take 2 months and about 4 people to get accomplished. It doesn't mean that you would work every minute of the day during your workday to do that for 2 months, but it would take 2 months of probably having a couple meetings a week over 2 months to accomplish what I was able to do in 15 minutes. That's crazy. That's what AI is doing. One of the other things that's going to be coming in that area, in that space with cryptocurrencies, is tokenization. And that's basically taking something and assigning a code to it. So for example, these are AirPods from Apple. And these could end up being tokenized so that they basically have a digital code or part of the blockchain that goes along with this. So I can sell this, and I would need to also give the token to the person I sell it to, and that's the way for them to authenticate that this is the real item. So think of it like a barcode or a serial number. They can do the same thing with real estate. They can do the same thing with your cars. They can do the same thing with gold and silver. Gold and silver is a little trickier because there's not usually serial numbers on them unless they are bars that can go into an IRA. But what can happen is they can tokenize things like a car, which would allow you to do micro payments or micro loans on your car to other people. You would pay them interest, and you would be able to have a car that's paid off that you maybe borrow $1,000 on it, and you can get you pay it off. I think it's going to get people into a lot of trouble. There's some ways that it makes a lot of sense for real estate. It makes sense for like title companies. There's a lot of things that get tricky with that could really simplify the process. With gold and silver, I get a little nervous about that. I don't want it to be tokenized because I don't want people to know what I have. and therefore I don't want to have a token for every piece of gold and silver I own. So I'm a little hesitant on that. However, I do think that's coming, and I do think they're going to tokenize the gold and silver, and it's going to back a stable coin, which to me is just another name for a CBDC. But I do think that can happen too. 100-ounce bars are harder, and so are kilos to sell, but you can sell them still. All right. I don't know the winged Liberty dimes. I don't know what those are. So I wouldn't be able to help you with that. Okay, let's see. I'm going to look through your questions real quick, guys. I know I'm behind on the comments, guys. It kind of happens with this. Okay, so one species, do you think silver will continue to have a huge GS ratio? So here's what I think is going to happen. I could be wrong. I think we're going to see the gold to silver ratio get up to, by the way, it should be called the silver to gold ratio, if you understand ratios, but it's not what it's called. I think we're going to see it go over 100. And I think we're going to see that because I think we're going to see $3,000 gold pretty soon. I would say in the next 30 to 60 days. I'd be very surprised if we don't see $3,000 gold by then. I think we're going to see even potentially a $4,000 or $5,000 gold this year. It's not my prediction for the year. I think my prediction for the year, I'd put it a little closer to $3,500 gold. But we could see $4,000 to $5,000 gold this year. It depends on a lot of circumstances and what happens. There's a lot of things government-wise that could make a difference there. BRICS could make a difference. But I don't see the gold to silver ratio changing too much until we get to over $3,500 in gold. And I think once we hit $3,500 in gold, you'll see it come from 100, and I think you'll see it get back down to probably 60. Okay? I don't have a lot of scientific evidence for that, but typically that's what can happen in these charts. It can also lag drastically. We could see gold get up to 5,000 before we see the ratio get down to 50. But I do think it's going to go up. I do have a lot of silver. Right now, I think I'm 50 ounces of silver to every 1 ounce of gold. I'm adding more silver than I am gold right now. Gold is a lot more expensive. So, I want my foundation for my wealth insurance. And once I've kind of done that, I'm moving heavier into silver. Also, gold is a tier 1, silver is not. Let's see. Does the IRS change extra if I take $3,000 to buy gold this year? Oh, the IRS charge extra if I take $30,000 to buy gold this year. I don't know. I don't know your question there, Galva, but if you're buying gold and your state does not have a state sales tax for gold, you're not going to pay gold on your sales tax on that. If you're selling a large amount of gold, the bullion dealers, I don't believe there's any rules right now to where they have to report that. It's mostly around the $10,000 in cash. Anytime you go over $10,000 of cash, bank has to report it, the bullion dealer has to report it. I believe they've changed some of the laws around how much gold you sell, and if it's gold eagles or buffaloes, there's no reporting on that. I've also heard from a few people that you don't pay any income tax on or capital gains tax on gold buffaloes or eagles, but you need to check with your CPA on that because I've only heard that from a few people, but I've heard different things from my CPA. They tell me I got to pay it on everything. That's why sometimes I go fishing. But you didn't hear that from me. Let's see what we got here. Invest 500 today in Bitcoin at 8,200, up $16 in 12 hours. Yeah, you can make money in it, guys. I mean, look, crypto, you can make a bunch of money. You can make a bunch of money in Bitcoin too. Now, I just pulled out a chart. In the last 12 months, gold has outperformed Bitcoin based on Bitcoin's latest crash. Okay, if you take the crash out, Bitcoin outperforms gold. It goes in 4-year cycles. We're getting close to the end of the cycle. That's going to happen either later this year or next year, and it's going to crash back down anywhere from 50 to 90% of its top. We don't know if it's hit its top yet or not. That's the problem with buying at Bitcoin at 82,000 right now. The top could be 100,000, 109,000 that it hit a month ago or so. We could see a top at 250, 300,000. I don't know where the top's going. A lot of that's going to depend on the crypto reserve. And if we start buying as a country a bunch of Bitcoin and other G7 nations start buying it, then we could see it go up a lot higher. I don't buy gold and silver to make money. I buy gold and silver because it is money. And I'm not really buying it. I'm transferring my crappy fiat dollars into real money. That's a totally different thing than what most crypto people are doing. Most crypto people are buying Bitcoin or crypto to make money. It's a different philosophy of how do you do this stuff. If you're buying gold and silver to make money, you are doing it wrong, okay? You're not a stacker if you're doing that. You're just a trader. And if you're just trading physical gold and silver, you need to have an eBay store. You need to have a wholesale license with places like New Zealand Mint that sell, and Scottsdale Mint, if you can get one, that will be selling you guys coins and bullion. Well, not bullion, I guess. It's all going to be coins for the most part that you're going to resell on eBay and whatnot and things like that. If you're going to do that, then that's a business, okay? But if you're trying to treat gold and silver like crypto, you're gonna get mad, and you're not going to make the money that you think you're going to make, because it's not going to do that. So you hear me talk about gold going up to $8,000 or $12,000 over the next 3 to 5 years in a gold bull run. That's not necessarily going to be a massive amount of money if we have inflation that goes along with it. So don't count on that making you rich based on today's dollar. You buy it because you want to lock in your purchase power today, and you want to be able to continue to have your wealth stay there. Plus, gold has proven to outperform inflation, okay? Not keep with it, outperform it, okay? You can get a much nicer suit if you go back to 1933 and you spend a $20 gold coin than you do if you take one of those St. Gaudens coins today and you sell it and try to go buy a suit. You're going to get about half as quality of a suit. Okay, so go look on the U.S. debt clock, and you will see that gold should be at about $9,000 right now. If it was at $9,000, you'd be getting about that same kind of suit as $20 back in, maybe not 1933, but going back to like 1920, 1910. That's where you would get it. So it's all kind of relative. When I see people like Midnight Rider in here talking about that, it's okay. That's why you're doing crypto. Invest 500 today in Bitcoin at 82,000, made $16 in 12 hours. Okay, cool. You can do that with crypto. You're less likely to do that with the gold and silver. Now, where you can do it with gold and silver is the miners. Now, I'd like to hear from you guys. Put a 1 in the chat if you hate when I have mining commercials on the channel, okay? Put a 2 in if you're okay with them, because you understand I need to support the channel somehow. And I don't have enough subscribers. If you guys all want to donate $5 or $10 a month, we don't need to do all of those ads. Otherwise, that helps me keep the channel going. It helps me pay for the gas, the parking. It helps me pay for the equipment, the camera equipment I need to do, setting up a studio. It helps me, basically pay for all the software I have every month that goes out in expense. So I'm not asking for big donations. What I'm saying is we got to have a little bit of money that comes in. Put a 3 in if you guys have bought any of the mining stocks. I'm just curious to see what you guys have done, and you can do multiple answers on that. Mining stocks a place where you can make a lot of money like you could with crypto. The problem is they've been so beat down right now. I'm upside down in every mining stock I own. A lot of them I've sold, and I've just moved into more physical gold and silver. But there's huge upside in the miners. They're like the most beat down stock sector. And we could have like probably a 60% market crash, and those would still go down even more, which makes no sense. So huge potential there, but you need to know what you're doing. And that's something that I'll probably get into a little bit more on private sessions, on how to do, evaluate gold and silver mining stocks and go through them and try to figure out if it's a good investment for you or not. But that's a thing you can do. So I'm not going to tell you guys not to do crypto. I'm going to tell you that I personally don't put any money into crypto that I can't lose. And I only buy projects I understand. And to me, it's like investing in a startup company. If you don't do your homework and research, and you're not buying ones that that you can hold for a period of time, and you're using money that is on leverage or money that you can't lose, you're gambling, you're risking. Okay, it's the same thing with the stock market. It's the same thing with real estate. If you go and 100% leverage yourself on real estate and get some money from a few people, and you try to go buy something totally risky, hoping it's going to double in value, but it doesn't cash flow, gambling. So you can be gambling with gold and silver too. Just depends on how you guys do it. Gaza, I don't know the Five Eyes nations. So you'd have to point those countries out to me. So yeah, I mean, right now crypto's down. If you guys want to buy it, it's gone down quite a bit. So, and you kind of missed it earlier, maybe yesterday, I guess. So I bought more, by the way. I'm not in SoCal. I'm actually in North Carolina right now. I don't have great local coin stores by me in Southern California. If you guys know of any, let me know. I'd love to go interview them. Probably the best one I have is Liberty Coin, but those guys won't do videos anymore. They've got decent fees. Sorry, they'll give you a decent amount when you sell back to them, and they don't charge too much when you're buying. And they've got decent stuff, but they're not super close to me. I don't really have anybody real super close to me. So I know a lot about crypto. I know more about crypto than I do about gold and silver, by the way. But I decided to do a gold and silver channel because I feel that it's a more important asset to hold than crypto. I don't think Bitcoin's the new gold, and I don't think it's going to be something you're going to want to hold long term. For me, crypto is a trade. It's something that I will trade in and out of, make some money on, buy more gold and silver, and then I will keep some tokens that are completely paid off after I've got my initial investment plus made money, and I'll put them over to the side. All of that stuff is going to lead to the mark of the beast, in my opinion. If you guys read the Bible, if you're Christian, I think all of that stuff's eventually going to be outlawed, and it's going to be things you don't necessarily want. Their countries are not going to allow you to own other currencies outside of their currency in the long run. They'll allow us to do it for now, but eventually they'll either control the cryptos or they'll ban them. That's my opinion. In the meantime, projects, to me, they're like startups. It's investing in startups. I've done a lot of tech startups myself. I've sold some, I've shut some down. And that's kind of what it looks like to me. So I don't have any problem with people doing crypto stuff, but you need to know what you're doing. And, in a lot of ways, yes, not having any crypto, you're going to be left in the dust if crypto really takes off. But if you don't understand crypto, if you're not willing to take things off an exchange and you're not willing to do a whole bunch of computer work, then maybe an ETF. But I don't like ETFs very much. So I kind of stay away from that stuff personally. There's a lot of great channels if you want to learn more about crypto that'll go into that. And, there's a lot of money that can be made in that. But it's also highly risky for those of you that aren't as familiar with it. Okay, let me see what else we got here. Dark-haired Johnny Bravo. Seriously, Dr. Rob Reddick. My hair's not that long. Johnny Bravo's hair, if you guys see Johnny Bravo ever, he puts like a bunch of goop in there. Okay, maybe it is this long. I don't know. But Johnny Bravo can be fun to watch, guys. I know some of you probably have a hard time with him, but there's some entertaining things on there. And he's got a really cool idea around doing what's called swing trading, and that's basically buying and selling on the ups and downs. Economic Ninja is another guy that does a lot of crypto stuff that you guys can follow. A couple of good channels I'll just point out that I like. I like Salivate Metals is a great guy to go watch. Yankee Stacking's been a great mentor for me. I love his channel. And Tim, you've got Silver Heist is another friend. Polybuck's another one too. They've got fun channels for you guys to go watch. Smart Silver Stacker has some great news. And I'm going to miss a whole bunch of different channels on there because I'm getting tired, and I've only been having about 4 to 5 hours of sleep this entire week in a 3-hour time zone different than what I'm used to. I've been up in Boston since Monday. But But there's great channels out there. There's also a lot of great crypto channels if you guys want to learn about that. There's a lot of great stock trading channels. You know, my main thing is know what you're doing. Don't follow the herd. That's how you get burned in things. And don't invest in stuff you don't understand. Don't look at it and go, oh my gosh, Bitcoin's going up. I need to hurry and go buy it. If you don't know what it is, you don't understand how it works, you don't understand the risks and the rewards of it, and you don't understand the historical nature of it, don't buy that stuff. That's how you get burned. Let's see. I don't think silver is going to become tier 1, no. Not unless we find out it's more rare than gold. I kind of look like Bert from Bert and Ernie. No, that's just too kind. Okay, let's see. Too much hitting. Uh-oh. You guys didn't like the violence, huh? All right, let's see what else. Try to get caught up with your guys' comments here. All right, Randy, I'll jump on the group chat in a little bit. That means Randy's going to ask me a ton of questions. I don't know in the San Fernando Valley any good LCSs, but if you guys find them, let me know. Yeah, QE is a big problem, guys. When that comes back, we're going to have major inflation. So I will throw another thing out. If you see quantitative easing or you hear talks about that, if we see the interest rates getting dropped drastically, if you hear of rebate or stimulus payments coming out, that's all very, very, very inflationary, okay? When things like that happen, you can pretty much put your money in anything and it's going to go up. You can buy comics, you can buy watches, you can buy crypto, you can buy gold and silver. Everything's pretty much going to be going up. But, you know, things always rhyme, but they don't repeat exactly the same. So not financial advice, just something that you need to kind of be aware of. But Randy, thank you for pointing that out. Let's see here. Am I buying stocks right now? No, I'm not. I do own a bunch of my company stock and I'm not selling it at the moment. But I'm not buying a lot of stocks. One of the reasons is I don't like the PE ratios, how high they are. And I do believe that we have been due for a massive stock market crash over the last 3 years, and it hasn't happened yet. We could be in a scenario that's called a blow off top, where you end up seeing massive gains go on, where we could see the stock market double or triple from here, and then it crashes 90%, kind of like the stock market crash from 1929. I do think we could have something like that. So it's hard to really judge by that. So I wouldn't tell you to pull your money out of the stock market, but I would tell you to watch your leverage. If you're leveraging in the stock market, I think that's dumb right now. Right now, I don't think it's a great time to leverage anything. I don't think it's time to go leverage a bunch of crypto to get rich on stuff. Like I don't do that. I don't gamble with that stuff. I make my money from working, and then I secure it. And I make sure I don't lose it. And then from there, I pay my debt off. My goal is to get 100% debt free. I was a few years ago. We've had to add a little bit back due to medical stuff with my family. And then, you know, my next goal from there is to take a percentage of it and get a little bit more risky with it over time to grow it. But I'm more of the mindset of maintaining wealth than I am growing it. For a lot of you that may not have wealth, you may want to go the opposite way and you're trying to grow wealth because you have nothing to lose. And that's okay. So you got to kind of understand, you know, those situations. Now, I will probably be buying some more mining stocks soon, and I'm probably going to be sharing those trades on this other platform I'm looking at starting up with. I'm doing some research on that, and I'll probably throw, you know, I don't know, 5 or 10 grand towards it and show you guys what I'm doing there. And that probably won't all be mining stocks either. But when I look at P ratios like Palantir at 400, that's crazy. Why would you buy that crap? I mean, I know why you might want to buy that stock, but at 400 times earnings makes no sense. Like historically, that's way too high. So that's like buying gold at $3,000 for your first time. And I don't know. It just, you wouldn't go put all your money into gold at 3,000, right? Would you? I don't know. I wouldn't. I would be buying a little bit there, and I'd kind of wait and see if it pulled back and what happened, and buy a little bit more at a few different points, right? But we all get started somewhere. So yeah, maybe that's something you might have to do if it doesn't move a whole lot. But I do think it'll go down more. Yeah, Randy and I have great conversations. Sometimes they take days to go through. All right, trading cards. Some people like trading cards. I know Andy's got a bunch of trading cards and signed baseballs as well. All right, let's see what else we got. Tommy Guns, trading cards. I don't think I'm smarter than any of you guys on here. I just research a lot. A lot of you are probably watching sports. I'm doing research. It's not as fun, but I read a ton. I go through a lot of stuff. I do have a master's degree from Northwestern. I understand analytics and data really well. Kind of a nerd in that way. So Jimmy Neutron's probably not too far off. Doesn't make me smarter than you guys. Knowledge and smarts is two different things. But thank you for subbing. Okay. Manchester KOI. I think that's the name there. Says the biggest risk to crypto is quant computing. We are a few years away from no wallet being safe. Here's the deal. I'll tell you the risks that you have with crypto, and I'll tell you the risks you have with gold and silver real quick. The risks you have with crypto, quantum computing is a risk, but that is a risk to human life in general. If the quantum computers have the ability to crack Satoshi Nakamoto's 5% of Bitcoin, okay, 1 million Bitcoin in there, Bitcoin's toast, and so are most of the cryptos, okay? People will just lose faith in it. They will dump them as fast and hard as they can. It's going to be a freak out. If that happens, your bank account's wiped out too, because they will wipe out your bank account. They will wipe out all the money the government has. They're going to wipe out everything. If they can crack cryptocurrency, anything that is used in code that has a protected code around it is gone. Your social security number is gone. They will have your birth certificates. They'll have everything. It's whatever they want to go after. So our greatest hope is that only nations that, kind of like a nuclear weapon, only a few countries have nuclear weapons. Hopefully only a few countries have quantum computers until we're able to use quantum computers to protect things. Is it a big risk for cryptocurrency? Yes, but it's a massive risk for everything else too. So that is one that is worthy to be aware of, but it is not just cryptocurrencies. It's pretty much everything. You won't even be able to keep like Kentucky Fried Chicken's secret sauce under wraps if that's somewhere digitally and it's protected with a password. So what I will tell you is it's moving faster than most people realize. It could happen in the next few months to the next couple of years. It all has to do with how many qubits we get. And I think there was a new chip from, I think it was Microsoft that just came out with one that had a ton of, it was like 1 million on there. Anyway, we're getting close. So I don't think we're that far away. The issue is passwords have to totally change. Excuse me, it can't be some 3 words you put together with a number and a symbol to be a password with a quantum computer. It's going to crack that in a second. So we're going to have to figure that stuff out. The bigger risk you have to crypto is EMPs, where we could have 6 nuclear weapons go off in the atmosphere, upper atmosphere, knock out all the power grids for 2 to 3 years in the United States, and 90% of the people die. Therefore, who cares if you have crypto? You're probably dead. If you do survive, you're going to have to wait several more years until you get access to it, because you're not going to be able to move through the country. If you're on the coast and you got a boat, maybe you get away. You got a bigger risk from that. You got a bigger risk from regulation, and you've got bigger risks from things being decentralized to become more centralized. I like the libertarian principles of Bitcoin, and that doesn't exist anymore. Pretty much every libertarian principle of Bitcoin's gone. It's not as decentralized as they tell you. Go look at MicroStrategy, how much they own. Look at how much the United States owns. The fact that countries are getting involved in it, the fact they have ETFs are all negatives to me. When I saw BlackRock buy into it and go after ETFs, that told me they knew how to game it, and they know how to have a fair amount of control over it. Go look at who's buying all the miners. Go look at who's buying a lot of the nodes. It's becoming less decentralized, and that's a concern for me on it. Doesn't mean you can't own it, but it is something that you've got to look into. Plus, it's software. I work in software. There's going to be something better that comes down the road on any of these technologies that come into play. We always innovate. But yeah, that's just stuff to watch out for. Kenshi's in the house. No, so Kenshi, I do not feel guilty recommending an investment loser like silver. So silver has a longer hold. You're just going to have to hold it longer. It is a massive commodity. It's 4 years in arrears for production to meet demand. All the new batteries coming out for Samsung that they're going to be putting into EVs takes a kilo of silver in them. The solar panels are becoming more efficient. They're putting more silver in those. And we're going to see even more uses for silver over time, especially when you get into medical devices. It has a lot of antimicrobial properties. So, and war. Every cruise missile has around a monster box of silver, 500 ounces. Those get vaporized. You're never getting that 500 ounces back. Silver is getting even harder to find than gold. So, no, I don't think it's a bad investment, but I also don't really invest in gold and silver too much. I use them for different things. So for my main reason with gold, it's wealth insurance. 1 ounce of gold for every $50,000 of net worth. That's me. Okay, that's what I do. Silver is for SHTF. I think silver is a great bartering tool when we get to the point where you're running low on food and we're in an SHTF and people start farming again and you have the ability to barter silver. I think will come back as being used as money in those situations. Will that happen? For sure? When will it happen? I don't know. So silver is more of an insurance plan to me as well in that way. Do I have some for a speculation and investment? I do. That's kind of where my silver eagles come into play a little bit more in my bars. And I do speculate a little bit with that, but it's a long-term hold. I plan on that being like a 30-year deal. At some point, that ratio is going to go down a lot lower, and it's probably going to get down to somewhere between 40 and 10. May even go 1-to-1 with gold. When that happens, someone like Kenshi who probably already has a bunch of silver. But if he doesn't, he's going to look at that and go, I can't believe silver beat Bitcoin. Okay? I do think that is possible. Now, for those of you looking at it, do not go buy a bunch of silver thinking it's going to beat Bitcoin or make you a ton of money. If you're buying it for that reason, you're going to get very disappointed. Silver moves very slowly until gold has an explosive rise. So just as an example, if we see gold go from its current price now up to, say, $15,000 or $20,000 an ounce, you could see silver go from, I don't have the calculator out, but you'd see it go from, say, $30 to, maybe up to $300, maybe $400. You'll get a higher multiplier, and that's not even the right math. Maybe it can go up as high as $1,000. You're going to get probably a 2 to 3x higher multiple with silver historically than you do with gold. So no, it's not a loser. You guys just are looking at silver in the wrong context and in the wrong time frame. I bought a bunch of silver the other day, by the way. Let's see. I thought gold was going to hit 3,000 this month, and it got really close. I think it has a very good chance in March. Kenshi's using the wrong charts. Silver beat Bitcoin in the last 12 months. So I don't know what he's talking about. Go look at your charts, buddy. Bitcoin just totally crashed. Now, that could change in a couple days too, by the way. But Kenshi is our happy, fun, Bitcoin-loving Lamborghini guy that likes to come and troll. So it's always fun until he starts spamming it that we have to kick him. Don't spam it, Kenshi. All right. So other thing, guys, I'll put out there too. Anytime someone's looking at charts, what you have to realize is it's all about time frames, okay? If you go to the inception of Bitcoin and you go to it being at 109,000 of Bitcoin, it's probably the best investment that's ever been on the planet. But when you look at different time frames, it means different things. I mean, very few people that owned Bitcoin from its inception have it still. So that doesn't matter. Those are stupid numbers to use. For people that are pumping something today, you have to use the number today and look forward to what comes in. If you think Bitcoin's at its top, I wouldn't buy it. If you think it has the ability to double, okay, maybe it can double, but is it worth the risk? If you can look at other cryptos or other assets out there that you think are going to go 4x, 5x, or 10x, you might do that. I've done a lot of startups. When you're doing a startup and you go to raise money from an investor, they're looking for a minimum of 20x, or they won't invest in you. And what they'll do is they'll go and invest in 10 companies, and one of them will get a 100x, one of them will get a 30x, one of them will get a 20x, and then they'll get one that gets a 10x, and then the rest of them will get 0. They'll have losses. So, if you're going to put money into something that could go down drastically, you do it only when you believe there's going to be a major upside to it, but you got to do your homework and understand things, not financial advice. And there we go. Kenshi just admitted he has more silver than probably any of us together. That could be. And if you do, then I would hold it, Kenshi. I would not get rid of it. And I do think one day you're going to see silver and people are going to go, wow, that looked like a meme coin. When silver reaches 10K, he's going to show us his Lambos. All right, Kenshi. I got Lambos and McLarens in the neighborhood, and I wouldn't buy one even if I had the money for it. Actually, when I had the money for it, I didn't buy one, so I don't know why I would buy one now. I just don't think it's reasonable to buy those things. And I'm not someone that cares about them, so, if I'm going to try to go after a bunch of wealth, I'm going to do it to help other people or so that I can enjoy a little bit more time at the beach and hanging out with my family. I'm not going to do it to buy a fancy car. One of the best things you can do to deter people from coming to your house for gold confiscation is put a minivan out in front. All right, let's see. Okay, so Kenshi mentions don't support mining companies. So when you buy stock of a mining company, you are supporting them to a degree, but only if they're issuing new stock are they getting any benefit out of that. That's how stocks work, guys. Everybody else is just trading it. Now, there can be a benefit if they go sell their shares, okay? So that's another way they can get it. Without mining companies, crypto dies, okay? If they stop mining silver and gold, crypto dies. The reason it dies is you can't have all these electronic devices, you can't have the miners, you can't have the nodes. Crypto is 100% reliant on the precious metals. Anybody that's crypto that talks really bad about precious metals doesn't understand how computers work. I have gone to Blue Vault. I've sold a lot of gold and silver to them in the past. I don't like the idea you've got to put your hand palm down and to get in, so that's kind of turned me off from going there, but they do have good prices. Do I think we're entering a stock market downturn or recession? I think we've been in a recession for 3 years, but I think there is so much liquidity out there still with all the money printing that's gone on that it's masked itself very well. Go look at how much debt has been added. There's over $1 trillion in credit card debt. There's over $1 trillion in student loans. Go look at all the debt people have on their houses. It's not good. So in a lot of ways, I think we have already been in a recession, but it's a funky one because we've printed 1 out of every $3 in the last 5 years, and therefore it's kind of masking itself really well. So it doesn't feel like a recession when I go out to places like Disneyland and it's packed and it's sold out. But when I go to the grocery stores and don't see as many people there and I see people buying fewer things, and a lot of people are not buying new cars, it looks like a recession. I do think we're going to have a stock market correction. I just don't know when it's going to come. And, Andy Scheckman mentioned a thing a while back. I'd have to look at the videos exactly to remember who had mentioned it, but talked about that the bankers were going to try to create a crash so they could buy more stuff at the bottom, and it would kind of fail. And then there would be a crash that kind of happens later on that we don't control, and it's really ugly. So I think we could have a crash in the next year. I think it's very possible, but I don't think we're going to see crazy bad end of the world. The financial system is completely melted down and crashed until we get into the 2030s. Oh my gosh, Kenshi. Yeah, you can send me basic crypto questions, and I can answer some of those if you guys want to email me. Okay, gold in Fort Knox. All right. Is there gold in Fort Knox? Yes, there's gold in Fort Knox. But I don't know if it's our gold is the issue. And I don't know if it's 1933 and older gold that was melted down. I don't know if that's in there still, the 90%. I was on a call. There was a guy I believe he worked with the Treasury. He'd been into Fort Knox. He said all the gold's there. So maybe it's there. The issue is who owns it and is it encumbered? It could be our gold and it could be being leased out for the next 30 years. That doesn't mean we get to use it for revaluation. That's a problem. It could be that we're holding a bunch of other countries' gold still. It could be that we don't hold very much in Fort Knox and it's always been just a place for people to think where it's at. It could be in other vaults and it could be in the other mints. The issue is how many ounces should we really have? What are people expecting? Is it the 8,200 ounces? Sorry, 8,200 tons? Or is it a different number? I believe it was around 36,000 tons we had during World War II when we were storing everybody else's gold. What if we have more gold? Okay. Is it there though? I think there's a lot of gold in Fort Knox, but I think we might be surprised on it being higher or being lower than what we're expecting. The real question is, are they going to go to every other vault and go audit that? And are they going to bring in one of the big four accounting firms to audit it? And are they going to measure everything? Or are they going to just do a statistical sample where they take at least one out of every 1,000 bars, drill it, and test it? And they've got to take it from different parts of the stack. It could be a crazy big audit. What I'm concerned about, though, is if it's different than what the public is thinking it should be, what's going to happen? We could have a massive crash to our dollar. We could have the BRICS come out. Now, a theory I have is we might have, the reason they may be talking about doing this, you got President Trump that came out and said if the BRICS nations do a gold-backed currency, that he is going to put 100% tariffs on them. So he's aware of the unit. He's aware that they could do that. And he's concerned enough to bring that point up. He may be trying to play their hand a little bit here and trying to show that we don't have enough gold, maybe in one of the vaults, maybe it's in a different vault now, or maybe another country is holding a bunch of our gold. That might be why a lot of it's coming back from London to New York, or that could be a billionaire that's buying up gold, or it could be the banks. But let's just say the gold isn't there. If they go and televise that, we have a higher probability of BRICS deciding, forget the tariff, who cares, and they go do their gold back thing, and then Operation Sandman, if you guys have heard of that, where they just dump all their bonds, they could do stuff like that. So crazy things could happen. I can't predict that. I don't know. But I do think those are some of the things that could potentially be going on here, as we might be playing, 3D chess here a little bit. But time will tell. So PMG silver stacks, my opinion is $100 face per person in your family of constitutional silver. That's the good starting place. And of course, if you don't have the money for that, you start with a lower amount. But that's kind of the first standard point I would get to. And I would start with dimes. Dimes are the best ones to get. Now, I have gone and done a guardhouse box of dimes, quarters, and half dollars, primarily because I saw the box, I thought they were cool, and I wanted to just fill them. So I did that. Pretty much everything else I'm going to be buying constitutional silver now is going to be dimes until I can't find them anymore. Right now, people don't want them. You can find them. And everything goes in cycles. There's going to be a time where no one wants junk silver, and they're going to call it junk silver, and that's why it's called junk silver. And there's going to be times where they want it, and they're going to call it constitutional silver. So right now is a good time to buy it, by the way, relative to the prices of everything. But that's what I recommend, is at least 100. You can go up to 200, 300, 400, 500. I don't think there's a problem with owning a lot of it. But I would also own 3/9 fine silver, and it's not bad to own some of the Canadian silver that's 4/9 fine. Yeah, Johnny Bravo is pretty funny, and he does chat with you guys too, which is fun. Let's see. Okay, besides tariffs, I don't have all the news in front of me because I'm limited to this device to pull it up, but there was around $1.2 billion in Bitcoin that was stolen off an exchange, I believe. And then I heard something, read something else where another 5 billion was either sold or maybe it was taken out of the exchanges, but that doesn't make sense. It probably sold, because if it was taken out of the exchanges, it should raise the price of Bitcoin. But there's that's going on. The longer and longer time we have between the time that Trump was running for president and announced a crypto reserve for Bitcoin, to the time where he said it would have more coins than Bitcoin, to the time now where we have no understanding of what's going to happen. The longer that goes, the more uncertainty happens in crypto, and as crypto has some more uncertainty, it can affect markets. Crypto is a risk-on asset. It's going to go very closely with the NASDAQ. So they're going to kind of pull on each other. I don't believe they have to have an answer for the crypto reserve until June, I think it was. So we're going to have a little bit more time for that still. Tariffs are a big fear that people have. Will Trump put tariffs on gold and silver? I don't know. I hope he doesn't, because I think that could really affect the ability for the country to acquire more of it. And you also have to remember, when you look at countries and how much gold and silver they have, you need to also look at the jewelry, and you need to look at the citizens in the country too. That's all potential stuff governments could confiscate, which is gold in the country, right? So you kind of need to look at that number as well. But as far as other things that are affecting, the markets in general, we've just got really high PE ratios. We're having companies now that are hitting earnings, but their expectations are lower for the next year. I believe that happened to Walmart and a handful of other companies, and so all of a sudden you see their stock come crashing down. So there's more uncertainty that's going on right now. Doge is making a big mark in the federal government. That's freaking some people out, and that's causing a lot of concern for things. The gold audit in Fort Knox, that's also causing some issues. Let's see. Let's see. Yep, Jimmy Neutron. Nick's Coin's doing okay. I had a little chat with her today. She said she's getting pretty close to being able to come back on things, guys. So that should be good. She had some eye issues that she's getting past now. Ooh, Enron stock. Yeah, that one didn't end too well. Yeah, she's also gone back to work as well. Okay, let's see where else we can go real quick with this, guys. I wouldn't bother investing in diamonds. They've been trying for 6,000 years to do alchemy, to create gold out of nothing in elements. They haven't been able to do that. We have figured out how to make fake diamonds that look just as good, if not better, than real diamonds. That's one I would be hesitant in investing too much in, because I think there's a lot of fluctuation there in the prices. So I'm not going to tell you yes or no on that, but I would do some more homework on that. That's one that I'm not interested in, and I'd be a little hesitant on. I don't do any anime or memorabilia. I did get into some of the comic books a few years ago, when Stormy or Matt from Empire Precious Metals was doing some of that stuff. It was fun doing it for a little while with I forget the other guy's name that just totally disappeared. He bought a ton of stuff. Randy would know the guy's name. Director of Awesomeness. I don't know his real name, but I had fun buying some comic books, but those prices have come down quite a bit. I even had a few of them get graded, which was kind of a fun process, except that it took me like 8 months, and I kind of missed the window for flipping those. You can make money in that area, but it's a much trickier one. I like sticking more with gold and silver, where there's inherent value to it and it's more stable. If you're trying to make a bunch of money off something very quickly, for me, I'd rather go start a company and put my money that way than trying to find something that has heavy risk. I did do some Lego investing for a while. I'm a big fan of Legos, and I had a stack of a bunch of really cool Star Wars Legos for a long time. I sent them into Amazon, and my account got all screwed up. And I have done Amazon since 2007, and I sold an Amazon business a couple years ago for a good amount of money. And this is another account that I had, and I sent in a lot of Lego stuff for sell. The account got screwed up. They told me they put everything on hold, and then I got sick in December and for the month of January, and when I went back to look at it, all my stuff had been given away. Not happy about that, Amazon. So be very careful if you're doing Amazon stuff, because even when you talk to their employees and they tell you that everything's okay, they lied to me about it, and they took thousands of dollars from me, so I'm kind of done with that. So be careful with that stuff, guys. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, I know, guys. I wish the news was happier. Here's the deal, though. It's not all doom and gloom, okay? We're going to have better days ahead of us, I promise. The problem is we're going through some big transitions. The last time we went through a transition as big as we're going through right now was in the late 1800s, early 1900s, when the car was coming in, when the global banking cartel took a hold of the United States in 1913, okay, and put in the Federal Reserve, 16th Amendment, I think it's the 16th Amendment, and they put in income tax, and they started screwing all the American people, and then they took our gold away, and then they give us fiat crap dollars. Okay, that's the last time we had a big transition. We're starting to go through another big transition. We're kicking out the global company, the global bankers, and they're very powerful. They're not going to like this. So there's going to be a lot of kicking and screaming going. So it's not all bad, guys, but what I'm telling you is you got to get a little bit prepared for some of this stuff, because we don't know how things are going to go down. And that's why, like with my food storage, it lasts 30 years. So I'm about 8 years into it. I've got several more years to go for it, and I can make it from Costco with some Mylar bags from Amazon, even though they make me mad about getting rid of my stuff. You really can create 30-year safe food for, I don't know, around $5 or $10 per 1 pound bag. I'd have to look at the math to get that exactly done. But if you guys want to see how I do food storage, I've got a ton of videos. I just never put them out. I haven't edited them yet. They're kind of sitting on my phone. But I did that a couple years ago. It's pretty easy to do. Chris Reed, I have XRP, gold, and silver. I think all three of those are good. I do like XRP, everything I see about it. In the long run, it may end up being a bad thing to hold, because it could be a nefarious type use of things, right? If it becomes more of a CBDC, but it does look like it could have some promise there. DARPA make BTC, probably CIA, someone else, I don't know. It's supposed to be using some CIA crypto code, but that's another thing. Not knowing who created it is a very big negative for me. It's not a positive. I know people like to spin that as positive, but I don't see how that's positive. Someone could still have that. Skynet, yeah, Skynet's already been invented. There's some crazy tech stuff out there right now. The government's tapping into it. It's not great. Let's see. All right. All right, so Trived gun. Approximate averages 1990, 1 ounce of silver was about 4.2 gallons of gas, 2025, 1 ounce of silver is about 1.89 gallons of gas. Depends on where you live. Our gas is $5, so we're probably a little bit worse than that here in California. I don't know anything about CASPA. I'd have to look that up. I like mercury dimes. That's what I have most of. And some of them are, you know, they give you a little bit less silver, but I'm of the rule of, I'm the thought of, rule of thought. I think when you go to use constitutional or junk silver in the future, if we do that and you're going to use that to buy eggs, bread, or whatever, meat, I don't think you're going to be weighing it because I don't think there's enough scales out there. That's not part of our society today. So I think you're just going to be using the dimes, and preferences will form. Some people will like mercury dimes, some people will like rosies, some people might like something older, or they might want quarters. I don't know. But I think we're going to get in a situation where they're not weighing them, but what they're looking at is the condition of the coin, and on average, you're probably going to be able to trade it for, you know, a certain amount, and if it's in better shape, maybe they'll give you a little bit more of whatever you're trying to trade for, and if it looks like crap, they'll give you less. Same thing with rounds. I don't go crazy on just stacking rounds. I stack silver eagles because I'm not too worried about my eagles or rounds to use for barter. I'm using that more as my investment speculation side of things, and I think those are going to be easier to sell. And to me, the slight premium I pay of a couple dollars more than a, you know, $2 or $3 more than a round is okay for me. I could be wrong, and maybe it just comes down to weighing it. But to me, I don't think it's going to come down to that. If let's say a 10-pound bag of rice is going to cost you a silver eagle, I think if I show up to a place to barter and I've got a silver eagle versus someone with a round, I think I'm going to get the bag with my silver eagle versus the round, or I'm going to get more for it. So that's just another potential thing to think about. I think we'll continue to see the silver shortage for the next couple of years. They need to start spinning up a bunch of mines. And then Mexico's messing around with that things too. So until Mexico gets a president that is looking out for the people, you're going to have the same problem. So yeah, so Michael, looks like Ted did a video, so I don't know when that was, but silver is harder to find. You've got to go deeper for it, and it hasn't been cost effective at $30 an ounce. It's not worth building a bunch of silver mines to go deeper. You get silver up to $100, that'll start to change. You get silver to $1,000, and gold sitting at $3,000. You'd see a lot of silver mines starting to spin up. They would start to go looking for more of it. But in general, silver is a metal that tends to be on the top of the crust, and it's not as deep as gold is in these, it's in different kind of veins. But we could find out that silver ends up becoming a lot more valuable than gold down the road. That is possible. All right. Sick Thinker says Bitcoin's going to 10K. It's possible. Chart's giving me a headache. Yeah, I feel you on that one. I mean, look, Bitcoin, where's Bitcoin going to go? Honestly, I don't believe Bitcoin's going above $250,000 this cycle, and it's looking hard for that to happen. I think the only way it gets there, and maybe a possibility of going higher, is if the United States comes out and says, we are going to be buying Bitcoin 200,000 a year for the next 5 years, and we're not going to sell it for 10 years, which is Senator Loomis's proposal, which also includes a revaluation of gold. It doesn't really say to what price, but let's say they took it up to $3,000. They could go sell all the gold we have. If we have 8,000 ounces, they get $800 billion. They could go buy a bunch of Bitcoin with it, I guess, if they want. I think that'd be a really, really bad idea. But could it happen? Yeah, maybe. I don't think it would get past that way, though. But, where's it going to go in the next 10 years? Honestly, all the charts I look at with Bitcoin are like, these kind of charts, and it looks like it's topping off. So to me, it doesn't look like it's going to hit $1 million. It looks like it's going to hit somewhere in the 200,000 to 300,000 range, and then it's going to start going back down to lower numbers. That's if it keeps on that chart. If it breaks the chart and it breaks the 4-year halving cycle, it could go higher. Otherwise, it's not going to do it. The charts show us it's not. They show us it's going to start going down and not be used as much. But so much of it depends on more money going into it. So if you get a bunch of institutions and you get all these countries putting a bunch of money into Bitcoin, it's going to go up. So 10 years is almost impossible to call. I would say, you're probably looking at maybe a top of 250,000 this year, but we may have already seen the top at 109,000 if they don't come out with a big, Bitcoin reserve. If that news is kind of out and it ends up being XRP, or they just end up not doing very much with it and they just said, we're going to hold on to what we have, I think you're going to see a lot of people move away from Bitcoin. Next year, or even later this year, you'll start to see it do its correction. It used to do a 90% correction. It looks like the last one was around a 65% correction. So somewhere in the 50 to 90% will be the next correction in it. When that starts happening, you're much better off going into gold, because we're just starting into a gold bull run that's going to go on probably until the end of the decade. So, that's a good place to put your money, in my opinion, but not financial advice. Bitcoin to go to 10 is insane. Could it happen? Yes. But if it does that, there's a lot of issues going on with crypto or the market, or we're in a major depression. Also, meme coins, I'd stay away from meme coins. They're all garbage. There's really nothing good there, in my opinion. And it's really just gambling when you're getting into the meme coins. They don't even do anything. So Omar, he bought Bitcoin at 3K and 500 ounces of American Silver Eagles at the same time, and really regrets not buying less silver and more Bitcoin, unfortunately. It's all relative, man. It depends on why you were buying it, and it depends on how long your time horizon is to hold it. You may not feel the same thing when Bitcoin's sitting at, say, 30,000 and silver's sitting at 1,000. Could that happen? It could. I don't know what the probability of that is, but it's all relative to the time frame you're looking at. If you bought the 500 ounces of ASEs hoping they were going to go way up in money and you're going to make all this money and you're going to the moon, you bought the wrong product. Yeah. If you bought it because you like silver and you believe that it's real money and it's going to hold its value and it's something you can use in a SHTF, then I think you hold on to it. You still, there's still good reasons for it. If I had a time machine, I could go back and become a trillionaire, right? I know a lot of inflection points where I could go buy things. You just can't beat yourself up over things like that. But if you're not liking silver and you don't enjoy it, but you want to have some precious metals, you can always move it into gold. However, the gold to silver ratio would tell you otherwise right now. I know, Colombia should be paying me right now. I have the heater on in this room and it's still cold. So let's see. See MP68. So yo bro, Lamo bro, Cass is digital silver to Bitcoin's gold. You'll have to send me an email. I don't know anything about that stuff right now. You'll have to send me an email on more of that so I can take a look at it and see what it is. All right. Yeah, this thing's getting puffy on me here. All right. All right. See you guys. Some of you guys are heading out. That's fine. Hit that screen twice. That'll put the thumbs up there, you guys. So that'll get more people seeing what we're doing here too. Classic cars can be a great investment, by the way, too. So can real estate, homes. For example, where I live, we're pretty close to the beach. Even if we have a big real estate downturn, it won't last very long where I live because most people would rather be by the beach than just in the middle of nowhere. And therefore, it retains its value pretty well. Also know with real estate, though, there's a lot of baby boomers that have multiple homes. They're going to be selling those or passing them to their kids. And their kids are going to want to sell that and do other assets. So we could see some times where we're going to see a very big disparity in prices on homes based on location, probably over the next decade. And so it can get a little tricky. You need to be very careful when you're buying assets to understand the markets. So I don't have a Civic or an Odyssey. Okay, maybe I do. One of those. I didn't buy it though. I didn't want it, but I do drive it when it's the family. Right now, I don't have a car, so my son's taken my car. My daughter's got one of the other cars. My wife has a car. As soon as some of these things hit, I'll be working on getting myself a pretty good ride. But right now, I'm kind of waiting. But Odysseys, Civics, Hondas, Toyotas, pretty good, reliable cars. I believe if they don't have the gold in Fort Knox, it's going to make gold prices go up. I do, at least in the United States. But you got to remember that's going to be more on the premium side. Spot price is global. So unless the whole world is worried about the United States not having gold in Fort Knox, it's not necessarily going to drive up the price, the spot price. But it may cause a run on gold here in the US to where the premiums go skyrocketing. I like cars, guys, a lot, and we have some really cool cars and coffee shows every Saturday in my town. But the issue is, I don't want to spend a ton of money on a car. They're depreciating assets unless you're going to go spend a ton on something. You're welcome, One Specie. All right, we're gonna start rounding this down here in a minute because I'm gonna lose my voice. I just haven't had very much sleep this week. I do put a crazy amount of hours into everything, guys, and I'm starting to wear myself out a little bit. Yeah, Bitcoin stacker is a Lambo. So what I'll say is anybody that is going after cryptocurrencies to get a Lambo, you're not investing, you're gambling, and you're probably under 40, and you're probably going to get wrecked a few times really hard in your life, and you'll be a person that probably makes $1 million and loses $1 million, makes $1 million, loses $1 million. I know a lot of those people that are around my dad's age. It's kind of a rough life, but a lot of people will go for that stuff. And it's just not a big deal to me. Try driving a Lamborghini, try getting it serviced. They're kind of crappy cars. Fast, yes, but you can go get a Tesla that's pretty fast too, and it will actually beat those cars in a lot of ways. Dogecoin stackers have a Bugatti, maybe. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Vatican gold. Yeah, I've heard about that. I need to do a little more research on that. Gold paint stocks are going to explode. I did put a post out on that. I really hope we don't have a bunch of painted bricks in the vaults. Something like that would be worse than not having the gold, because it would show massive amounts of just trickery and fraud. It would be really bad. Let's see. Azure Blue made it in. Hey, guy. How's it going? Let's see what else we got here. So precious metals miners just add supply to the market, diluting price. Not really. It's a very minimal amount. Something that could potentially have a 1 to 5% inflation rate a year on gold, a little bit. A lot of it's being bought up by central banks right now, which is taking that slack out of the market. But once fiat starts falling apart, guys, we won't be able to keep up and make enough gold for all the people that are going to want it. So that's not really a real concern for me. Silver, it's even less of a concern because they don't recycle silver, and they probably won't until it's at $500 an ounce or higher. And even at that, a lot of it gets used up. It's not very easy to recycle it, or it gets atomized, right, in weapons systems. So I don't think gold and mining is even an issue. And then you've got people worrying about asteroids full of gold. Good luck on getting one of those. Like, we will colonize Mars and have millions of people on Mars probably before we can go grab one of those gold rocks and bring it in. And even at that, the person that brings it in is going to make their gold useless if it's enough gold. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of motivation for it. I think the quantum computers are 10,000 times more risky and a bigger problem to worry about for cryptocurrencies than a gold asteroid is. Let's see. All right, I'm going to take a couple more questions, then we're going to have to call it a night. Now, if you guys want 5 nines fine gold, Canadian Wildlife Series is the coin to go for. I've actually sold all of those, and they're pretty nice coins, but it's really soft gold. You've got to keep that in its assay all the time. You wouldn't break that out at all. Ted did talk about coin of the realm all the time. I frankly got a little bit tired of hearing the coin of the realm conversation all the time. The concept is right. It was just hard to keep hearing the coin of the realm. It was very repetitive. But you can't go wrong owning that. And the reason I say that is you're more likely to get favorable tax laws when you own that coin, and more people are going to recognize it, plus it's going to have the country's name on it. So it is a good idea to have that. Let's see here. Yeah, I heard North Korea stole 1.2, but maybe it's 1.5 billion. Platinum. I think platinum's a good play, guys. It's not part of what I'm stacking for my deep stack from a standpoint of I need to have a certain amount of it. But as I feel like I'm pretty good with gold and silver, and I'm just kind of adding to it, I'm starting to look more at platinum. Platinum is very low priced historically right now compared to gold. And that's one of the reasons I think we are somewhat in a recession, even though it's not completely accurate with what the Fed would tell you. But platinum is usually really more of a indicator of where the economy is going. The fact that it's almost a third the price of gold right now, when it normally is double the price, tells me there's massive upside to it once the economy really starts to swing back and we have a lot of production going on. Personally, I wouldn't stack a ton of it until you feel like you have the money that you can invest in that, meaning you've hit your other goals. Platinum is a good price, but it's also one that you may be holding for a longer period of time. So be careful with that. Don't go crazy buying it unless you understand it and the risks that can go with it. But I have some platinum. I see gold and silver prices going way up. So the only thing negative about gold and silver is if we have an everything crash. And to me, that's something that you could get down to $18 silver again, $1,800 gold. And that would be because people are having to sell their gold and silver to survive and live. They didn't get their year's supply of food in time. They lost their job. Maybe they lost their house, and they're having to sell it because everything's crashing and they lost their jobs and stuff. You'd have to have like a Great Depression thing going on. I think we're less likely to have that last very long or happen at all. I think you're more likely to have hyperinflation. I think they'll just print a ton of money and hand it out to everybody. So I think it's way higher probability that prices go way up versus them going way down on gold and silver. But if they do go down and we do have that situation, they'll go down slower and they will recover first. If they revalue gold, they should be changing the denomination mark on the gold coins. So if they revalue to 3,000, it should be showing $3,000 on the coin. Now, will they show it as 3K or 3,000 on there? I don't know. But if they ever move it to $142,000, they're not going to have a place on the coin to put that. So I don't know if they'll actually do that or not. Let's see. All right, let me see if I can get through this fast. Yeah, 16th Amendment's the income tax. Yeah, Kenshi, even though it doesn't matter who created it, in your opinion, you can see who wrote the code. If it was created by a sovereign nation and that news comes out, and I guarantee you it's going to crash those cryptocurrencies. If it turns out Bitcoin was created by the CIA or the United States government, Russia and China are going to close off and not allow anybody to own it. That can be a very negative thing once we find out who it is, if it's not just some guy, right? If we find out that the person that holds the keys to the million Bitcoin for the Satoshi wallet, and they're still alive, major red flag, major issue, concern, especially if it's someone you don't like. But those are some issues that I have with stuff. Now, people ask, well, who created gold and silver? Well, in my opinion, that was God. God created the planet. Now, if you don't believe in God, then okay, the universe created it. But it's created inside of the dying star. Good luck on freaking figuring out that process again. That's going to be, I don't think we're ever going to figure out how to do that on the planet without blowing the planet up. So I don't think you're going to be getting a whole bunch of extra gold. For bartering, 1/10 ounce coins are better than 1 ounce coins. You're going to wish you had more 10th ounce coins if gold gets up to 142,000 an ounce, but the premiums are higher. So, be careful on what you buy, know what you're doing there. If the US government does decide to do Bitcoin as a strategic reserve or multiple coins, MicroStrategy will most likely go up and be worth it as a leveraged play. Therefore, you'll see it go higher. London kids. So silver is interesting. If silver goes to $1,000 an ounce right now, it is going to increase the cost of goods and like products, but most things don't use enough silver for it to make the price of that item unattainable for the consumer. So you're really not going to see it too much. It's not like it's going to take solar panels and 10 times the price of it, right? It might increase it by a couple percent. So no, I don't see silver going higher, killing the ability for it to be used as not a utility, but as a industrial use. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Jose, I do think it's a good chance that you'll see something like XRP get used for the rails with a stable coin for the United States, which could be the RLUSD, being used as the new money. See that new currency. I wouldn't call that money either. I wouldn't call any cryptocurrency a money. I don't think they are. I think only gold and silver are money. And people will argue with that because they've got these special definitions for it. Especially Mark Moss would hit that pretty hard. But I'd argue with them it's not money. It may be a monetary instrument that you use, but it's not money because it's not defined that way in the Constitution. I live in the United States. The Constitution is the rule of the lands. Could we see that happen? Yes. And could we see gold backing something running on an XRP? That is possible. Bitcoin has no real utility outside of a store of value, and I don't think it's a good store of value because it doesn't work outside of the network. I think it's an okay store of value. I don't think it's a good one. It's not one I would put a lot of my money into. But if I made a ton in cryptocurrency and I had $50 million, maybe I would think differently. I don't have that much money. But I would definitely go to gold first before I went to Bitcoin as a store of value. I have heard of XCN Chain. There's a lot of coins out there that are going to be used for finance. So when the government comes out with its CBDC, I don't think they're going to let you own Bitcoin. I think they're going to take the Bitcoin from you, or they're going to make it illegal to have a self-custody. or they're going to make it that the only way you can take the Bitcoin off of the off ramp is to get into the CBDC. That's one of the reasons I buy a lot of gold and silver. They can't take it from me because they can't find it, and I can black market the thing. So I really don't. I don't think Bitcoin's the answer for CBDCs. I think you're going to get stuck in the system, and I don't think you're going to be able to do anything with it. So unless you can use Bitcoin to do peer-to-peer transactions, I think you're going to have to off-ramp into the CBDC or the stable coin that functions the same way as a CBDC would. I think that's not a valid concern. I've got a lot of maxi friends that push that pretty heavily. If I'm the government, I'm not going to let you do that. If I'm the government and I'm going to bring out a CBDC and I'm going to regulate it, and I'm going to freeze your bank account, or I'm going to make it so you can only have one hamburger a week, I'm not going to let Bitcoin exist next to it. And yes, there are ways to KYC, CLM it. There are ways to shut down the exchanges. There's ways to force you into ETFs. It's one of the reasons I don't put a lot into Bitcoin right now, because I think we're going down that path soon, and I think you're going to get stuck with a bunch of CBDCs. And that's what my company's going to pay me in. I don't need any more than I get from that. I don't want to hold a lot of it. Okay, let's see what else we got. Reputation, yep, that's a form of money. Thanks, Al. All right, Randy, yeah, we're going to end it here in just a second. I don't really play around with Litecoin at all. I know a lot of people have said that's silver to Bitcoin. To me, it's irrelevant. I don't think it's even a thing to be looking at. All right, it looks like I finally caught up. So yeah, guys, there's a lot of things. You have a lot of options out there to put money into. It's best to put your money into things you know and understand. It's best to do your homework on those first. Do not go chasing after things you don't get. I believe having gold and silver is a smart play. I think you can make some money off cryptos, and it may turn out that I'm wrong on some of this, and that cryptos are the play that you need to have, and that's going to be the new money. I just have a hard time believing that that's going to be in the place. There's, especially looking at something saying, hey, for example, with Bitcoin, looking at it and just saying this is going to be something that's never going to have a problem, and no one's ever going to create something better. I'm in software. We create crap better every year than the previous year. Bitcoin's not perfect. It doesn't move very fast. And maybe some people will argue that's a feature, but then they come back and talk about a Lightning Network. Okay, if you have to build something else on top of it, you've already taken things away from it. If a country can go and own 20% of the Bitcoin, it's not what it was in the beginning. So, watch out for things. Do your homework on stuff. I'm going to lose my voice here, and I need to go to bed. But thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thought this would be kind of fun to just do a quick Q&A on everything. I'm not perfect on everything. I don't know everything. But this is what's in my head. This is kind of the stuff that I'm chasing and following. And what I'm hoping to do in time is help you guys navigate that a little better. And until next time, peace out.